There are three things that stand out for me in the life of Imam Ali in this respect. The first is, what courage must it have taken for a young boy, 10, 12 years of age, the youngest person in the family gathering, to actually stand his ground against all the elders and the greybeards and say, "I'm with you, Muhammad. I accept and recognize you." And even though Imam Ali is one of heightened spirituality, nevertheless, this takes enormous human courage. And then, secondly, we think about that occasion when the Prophet is going to leave Mecca and is going to make hijrah to Medina. And he is asked to do something that's pretty risky. He knows that there's an assassination attempt. He knows that if he stays in the place where the Prophet sleeps, he is there, as it were, like a tethered goat. He is a willing victim who is standing there in order to protect the person of the Prophet, in order to give him the possibility of making his escape and not being attacked. And then the third thing is that after the Prophet has left, and obviously people are very upset that the Prophet has escaped, he nevertheless is asked to remain on and to return all the pledges that were left with Muhammad by the people who are now his enemies. So those people who have given him pledges to look after because he was such a trustworthy person, it is Ali who was asked, stay on, return the pledges, and then make your own journey to Medina. And in these three ways his character stands out as one who was prepared to give his everything in order to protect the life of the Prophet. One of the things that comes out clearly about the life and character of the young man Ali during the Prophet's own lifetime is that he was somebody of remarkable wisdom, that people would come to him to ask his advice, to seek his counsel. But he was also someone of remarkable courage, and so we read again and again of him being sent to lead a group of men who were to go out to defend the community of Medina. And we read of him again and again being sent into single combat. Now, any of us, no matter what kind of a warrior we are and how skilled we are, we know that when it comes to one-to-one combat, you have got a 50-50 chance that you're not going to go home from this. To do it once is one thing, to do it a few times, but to do it repeatedly is a sign of great courage, of great character, and of great leadership. But then secondly, let's put that alongside another example of the leadership of Imam Ali. And that is, after the Prophet's death, when the group of elders get together and they decide that they're going to take things in their own direction, it would have been then an easy thing for Ali to stand and shout and to call an uprising, as it were. And instead, he takes a position of dignity. He says, I'm not a rabble leader. I am the one chosen by God to lead this community. It is God's business to see that I am brought into my rightful position. And so one of the qualities of leadership is that you don't stamp and shout and tell everybody how wonderful you are, but you allow your natural character and also your God-given position to shine through. so that eventually people will recognize you. There's a remarkable story that's told about Imam Ali in single-handed combat, and others from the community are standing around watching, and the fight goes one way and then goes the other, and eventually Imam Ali has the man on the ground and is about to deliver the final blow and kill him. And in that instant, the man on the ground spits in Ali's face. And Ali puts up his sword and walks away. And the people say to him, "Why did you do that? You had him beaten, you had him on the floor. Just one stroke and you would have killed him." And Imam Ali turned and said, "If I had done that before he had spat in my face, it would have been an act of justice. But if I had done that after he spat in my face, it would have been an act of revenge, an act of anger and of vengeance, not an act of justice at all. And so I turned away and did not kill him." One of the things that we have to remember is that the person of strength who acts with justice, even if it goes against themselves, is a person that we can admire. Whereas the person who abuses justice is the person who is a corrupt leader. And so we see in this little instant from the life of Imam Ali the true quality of what a just leader should be like. The humanity of human beings is something that is not affected by their wealth, by their status, by their poverty, by their lowly demeanor. Every human being is of infinite value. We have a famous saying from Imam Ali that every human being is either already your brother in faith or your brother in humanity. And therefore every human being is to be valued and respected. In an age in which leaders think that they should be waited on, think that they should have fine robes, and everyone should regard them as a person of great dignity, we have the example of Imam Ali, who goes to feed the poor himself during the time of his own leadership. So he gives us an example of leadership. True leadership does not stand on its dignity, but rather it stands alongside the poor and respects them in their time of need. Part of the time of need of a poor person is that it can come at a time that is not very convenient. We have the famous example of the poor person seeking alms, who goes to different people in the mosque but is turned away because they are too busy. They're in their prayers. And it is, of course, that famous example when Imam Ali uniquely gives his ring in charity, when he is at his prayers, when he is bending in ruku'. And so he is a reminder to us that the call of the poor is always there, and we must always be ready to respond to it.